So, Hare Krishna, and welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita session. Every Sunday we meet and we discuss based on various topics from Bhagavad Gita and in general the scriptures. And as most of you are aware, we are approaching Gaur Purnima, appearance day of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which will be there celebrated across the world on the 7th of March. And considering that, taking that as a occasion, we thought it will be great idea for us to discuss about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his glories and his instructions. The most important part are his instructions that he has given for all of us to follow. And so that is what we are going to discuss today. As and we may not be able to finish it because these instructions are given by Krishna himself, who appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, and so they are not so easy. So not so easy to follow, not so easy to comprehend, understand. समझना भी मुश्किल है और implement करना भी मुश्किल है. So our purpose of learning everything is to implement things practically so that we can benefit out of it. We just don't learn things for knowledge purpose, which is good. We can collect information, we can collect knowledge, but when we have ability to use that in our day-to-day life, that is where the knowledge is realized, and that is what our objective will be, to learn from these instructions based on the various classes given by various great acharyas, great speakers, great scholars in ISKCON. We've tried deriving some nectar, and I'll be trying to share with all of you as per my understanding, as I have understood it, as per my capacity. And hopefully it will be beneficial to all of us, you as a listener and I as a speaker. All of us can benefit out of it. We can purify ourselves through this discussion and can inch closer to Krishna as a result of it. So let's get started. My voice probably will remain like this. If I try and speak loudly, it will just become worse. But so kindly bear with me today. Unfortunately, I can't do much with this. Whatever I have, I probably try and speak to the best of my ability. So let's get started uh, with today's session. And the first activity that I want all of us to do is this. Please type in the chat box, what do you relish most in the Krishna consciousness? Now, what do you mean by relish? The topic for today is relishing instruction. Now, we'll come to that part, but in general, we all want to relish in our life. We want to become happy. Relish is, we are trying to enjoy things. We like enjoying. We enjoying mentality is there in all of us. And in Krishna consciousness also, when we come and we start practicing, become practicing devotees, we like certain things. And all of us must have had good amount of exposure to Krishna consciousness movement through chanting, by visiting temples, meeting devotees, tasting prasad, visiting dham in yatras, participating in kirtans, singing in kirtan, dancing in kirtans, playing some instruments, cooking bhoga for Lord, making garlands or whatever. We must have had some exposure to Krishna consciousness, and I want to know, we which one. So most of those are relishable, but at individual level, we may not be able to relish all of them. So what we can relish will depend on our nature. What are our likings? What are our dislikes, likes and dislikes? Some are very thoughtful, contemplative, so they may relish reading scriptures. Some who are not so much contemplative in nature, they may like doing out the book distribution. So it depends on our nature that we have acquired from our previous births activities and our current births activities as well. But whatever we have, using these means, we like certain things in Krishna consciousness and we don't like. And what do you mean by relishness? When we we're relishing Krishna consciousness means we feel very strong connection or presence of Krishna in our life. We do particular thing and we very strongly get connected with Krishna. We feel our connection with Krishna is very strong at that point of time when we are doing that particular activity. And it should be it's possible that somebody may feel strong connection while doing everything, taking darshan of Krishna's deity, or meeting devotees, wearing tilak, reading scriptures, memorizing verses. He may get the same strong connection in doing everything, or at times we may have less and more. In some activities we may feel very very strong connection with Krishna, or very presence of Krishna we can feel. We forget ourselves while doing those activities, where we we forget who we are, where we are. In Yatra, a lot of us were struggling to keep track of dates and days. Once we went to Vrindavan, and especially in this yatra as well as in the previous yatra, so it was more because it was a 10-day yatra. So when we knew when we arrived in Vrindavan, from then onwards, we just forgot which day and date it was, because we were completely disconnected from the outer world, with the outer world, and we were simply engage in Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan, Krishna Prasad, and Krishna Darshan, and meeting devotees. so so during that time we simply forgot. Many of us actually had this experience that we forgot who we really are, what is our position in the material world. Back in Mumbai, who am I known as? We were sitting in dirty, uh, we were sitting in the dust of Vrindavan. We were sitting on the ground, taking prasad there. We visited so many places of pastimes. We sat down, we sat on the rocks, we walked barefoot on the tar roads, as well as in the lands of Govardhan. So we did all those things, which we probably will never do in cities like Mumbai, Delhi, wherever we are living, Hyderabad. So we forgot ourselves, and we were completely absorbed in Krishna. We were absorbed in Krishna and activities in Krishna consciousness. So I want to know in the chat box, which is your favorite activity, which helps you connect with Krishna in the best possible way. Or the other activities also you may like, but this one has a special place in your heart. You may start typing in the chat box. Let me just correct one thing. So we have already have started getting a lot of entries. I'll just start reading. Chanting, that's right. Yeah, some get lost. Sadhu Sangha and chanting. Vikas Kumar Sharma is saying that's nice. Vrindavan Dham Yatra. Yes, absolutely. Vrindavan, going to Vrindavan is so special. And we literally forget who we are, where we came from, and what are our problems, all the problems from the material world, we just left them all behind, and we forgot ourselves when we were in Vrindavan. Chanting with devotees, that's nice. Bhagavad Katha, that's good. Prasadam, very nice. That's one of my favorite. Kirtan and Vrindavan Dham Darshan. Yeah, that was so wonderful. Uh, uh, love chanting. Yes, Ravi Prabhu. That's very visible and evident that you love chanting. Reading of Bhagavad Gita. That's nice. Going to temple, attending morning programs. Wonderful. DT Darshan, Prasadam, and association with devotees. Thank you, Mataji. Seva of my Laddu Gopal. That's nice as well. Yes. Bathing Laddu Gopal, changing dress, offering, cooking and offering bhoga, and jewelries, making jewelry for Gopal ji, and all those things help us connect with the Lord so fondly, so nicely. Chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, okay, association of devotees, bhajan, chanting, kirtan, Vrindavan Dham, very nice. So most of you, I think, have replied, and that's true. These are the activities where, at a personal level, and this may not be common for all. Mangalarti in Vrindavan, that's so special. That's true. Very nice. And everybody used to, in Mumbai, nobody gets up early, and at the earliest we may get up is maybe 5 o'clock. But in Vrindavan Dham, everybody gets up at 3 o'clock or 3:30, and prepare themselves and go and attend the Mangalati. And there everybody is competing कि कि इसको नहीं देखा मतलब ये शायद सोया था. And then nobody wants to be in that category that nobody saw me. ऐसे कैसे मैं आया था और किसी ने देखा नहीं मतलब how can that be? So people, everyone is so eager to go get up early morning and go to Mangalarti. Prabhupada Aarti happens at 4:15, and then followed by Mangalarti at Rakushna Balram temple with where we sing Vibhava Rishesha. Dham Yatra Sadhu Sangha. Nice. Thanks so much, everyone. So yes, that's true. I've captured few points for as a reference, but most of these points are covered in our and it's important to relish Krishna consciousness as well. And we're going to discuss how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was relishing in this particular incarnation as a devotee, how he was relishing remembrance of Krishna. And that through that relishment he's teaching us that services are important, but our personal relishment is also very important. That personal relishment will give us a connection with Krishna and help us get connected with Krishna and stay connected with Krishna for the rest of our life. If we have that missing, this particular relishment missing, then our commitment to Krishna consciousness can become very weak. So, so we'll before we go to the relishment, the reason we'll just give a little background, discuss a little background about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and why he appeared. He appeared and why he appeared, where he appeared, and which primary activities that he performed, so that we have proper background understanding of who Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, and we can because of and basis that we will be able to appreciate the message that he has given to all of us. So in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 28th verse, Krishna says that if you are those who are those whose sinful reactions are completely eradicated and they are free from dualities of delusion, only the such people can engage themselves in my service with determination. So he is giving a condition subject to which it becomes difficult for us to engage in devotional service. So in Bhagavad Gita, if you recall, various yogas were discussed, and Krishna repeatedly encourage Arjuna to practice bhakti yoga through various chapters and various verses. We discussed that continuously he is reminding Arjuna to become a devotee of Krishna. And when you become devotee of Krishna, you do what Krishna wants you to do. Do as per Krishna's will. Don't try to execute your own plan. Comply with Krishna's plan. Cooperate with Krishna's plans. Do as Krishna is saying. Do what Krishna wants you to do. Now, that this is the repeated message that was given by Krishna to Arjuna, and this is a precondition. Then, when who can become devotee, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who is free from dualities. Now, that's a very difficult stage to achieve. And further in 18th chapter 66 verse, Krishna says that abandon all varieties of religion when he says that sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja, just surrender unto me. Now this is again a complete surrender is demanded by Krishna, and then says that if you surrender to me like this, I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions, then you do not fear. But again, as what becomes clear is, to help Krishna's to seek to get access to help from Krishna, uh, we need to do two things completely. We need to be fully purified, and we need to be fully surrendered to the Krishna. Now these two things are very difficult to achieve. It's not easy to fully to get fully purified during our lifetime. It's also not very easy to fully surrender to Krishna. And if that is the case, then Krishna says that the devotional service may not happen properly with determination, and we want to actually perform devotional service with determination. So there is a conflict, there is a contradiction. Now this is where Krishna considers, and he appears as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the form of a devotee, as Krishna himself appears as a devotee of Lord Krishna. And by his personal example, he demonstrates how we can become devotees of Lord Krishna, and how we can practice devotional service, which are the means to be utilized for practicing devotional service, how devotional service can be beneficial, how it is easy. And because he is Krishna himself, he can dictate terms, he can dictate rules, he can give rules. And he's given the rule because the previous, the worship that was available in the previous yugas and the previous time was not available in the was not people in Kali Yuga are not capable of doing any of those things. Neither the brahmanas are pure enough to perform yajna, neither the people are are able to get completely free from sin. So what hope do they have? What hope do they have that even if they feel some attraction towards Krishna, they will actually be able to come to Krishna, because this is what Krishna wants. This is what Krishna desire. So the only so in the this is picked up from the introduction to Srimad Bhagavatam, where Prabhupada gives life story of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, this is where Krishna Prabhupada is writing that the only as the Lord Sri Krishna as the only worshipable Lord, that he wants give up all modes of religious activities and accept Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna, as the only worshipable Lord. The Lord then assured that all his devotees will be protected from all sorts of sinful acts, and then that for them there would be no cause for anxiety. Now, so the same point, basically the complete surrender. Unless you see, Krishna sees complete surrender, he may not act. Then he will want you to wait. He will he will want you to surrender fully before he actually act on the on us. Arjuna was fully surrendered to him, so Krishna gave him complete protection. All Gopakumaras, the boy cowherd friends, were completely surrendered to Krishna. So we visited Ramtal, where the Aghasur killing Leela took place, and Baba explained how fearless all the cowherd boys were, because they knew that Krishna is with them. If even if he is some kind of a demon, Krishna will protect them. And that's why fearlessly, completely, without any doubt, without having any slightest doubt whether Krishna can or Krishna may not be able to, what if Krishna may not be able to protect, without fearing, without having any doubt, they simply walked into the mouth of Aghasur and they were devoured. And they were devoured. Krishna entered his mouth, and then he saved them. He glanced at them and they came back to life. So now this is the level of surrender that Krishna is demanding. But uh, but that may not be possible for all of us. And even if we try to practice bhakti, we may practice bhakti not in the mood that Krishna want us to. Now, Krishna is the only worshipable God. We saw that in the previous slide. And Krishna is person. And being a person, Krishna likes and dislikes certain things. Krishna has preferences. Krishna likes certain things in done when they are done in such a person in a particular way. And he does not like certain things. Some things gives him more pleasure, something gives him more joy. Now this is possible only if you are a person. When God is a person, then only he can become happy, happier, and happiest. There will be degrees of happiness. In generally, he will be happy because he is Atmaram, he is happy within himself. But when somebody approaches him with a devotional mood, he becomes happy. And when somebody completely surrenders to him, he becomes very, very happy. He becomes very happy. But and so he's thinking also. Now, Krishna is a person, so as we can think, Krishna can think. And so Chaitanya Charitamrita captures uh, the mind of Krishna, what Krishna is thinking. That is also captured in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's why, and it's not easy to understand mind of Krishna. We can't understand our own mind properly. What to speak of understanding somebody else's mind, and what to speak of then understanding mind of Supreme Personality of Godhead. But this is through conversations with his intimate devotees, intimate associates. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed mind of Lord Shri Krishna, because he is Krishna himself. So whatever he is thinking, Krishna is thinking in the same way. Krishna is thinking that this comes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that everywhere people worship me by following regulative principles and shastric injunctions, but one cannot gain loving sentiment possessed by residents of Vrajbhumi by such practicing of devotional service. Now, now this is how worship of deities are prescribed in Naradiya Pancharatra Purana. There are Puranas which prescribe how deities should be worshipped, what mantras to be chanted, what process to be followed, which ingredients to be used, what should be how a pujari should approach the deity, what are the things that he should do, he should not do. Now there are various rules and various regulations, which ingredients can be used, how many those need to be fresh, they need to be kept reserved properly, preserved properly. They cannot be uchishta, they should not be uchishta, there should not be impious things, impious thoughts also are should not be allowed to enter to the hearts of the pujaris. They need to be completely pure in their mind, in their body, mind, and consciousness, to be able to perform nice worship of Lord. And if they do that, then that can at least be pleasing, that can at least be in line with the shastric injunctions. But even if one performs such worship, one is that is not one is still in the awe and reverence, means uh, they are in the Aishwarya. They are aware of the Aishwarya of Krishna. They are not in love with Krishna. Now, the versus this, the residents of Rajabhumi are in love with Krishna. Now, they know on one hand that Krishna has created and is maintaining and is going to destroy the world. Krishna has come, taken this appearance, birth at the request of Brahmaji. But they forget that very quickly, and they say that Krishna is my sakha. Krishna is my child. Krishna is my friend. Krishna is wants to play with me. Krishna, I want to play with Krishna. I want to dance with Krishna. I want to feed Krishna. I want to bathe Krishna. I want to protect Krishna. Krishna is our child, our baby, and Krishna is in needs me. Krishna needs my protection. Now, this feeling itself is beyond the conception of deity worship, where you worship Lord Govinda when you say that Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Now, there is opulence of Krishna that is described. That you, oh Krishna, oh Lord Govinda, you are Adipurusha. You have created everything. You exist in everything. You are separate from everything, and you are able to enter into the hearts of each and every living entity. And see things what are happening there, and you're separate from all this as well. You're Everyone is inside you, and you are inside everything. So the opulence of Krishna is inconceivable. Inconceivable means which cannot be understood by our little intelligence. So Krishna is omnipresent. He's present everywhere. He's omniscient. Omniscient means he knows everything. Whatever is going through our mind at this moment, he knows everything. And he's omnipotent. He can do everything. He can do anything. And so these are the qualities of Krishna. Once you become aware of those, uh, then you worship him with awe and reverence. But he says such worship is not very attractive, because I'm okay, I get pleased by such worship. uh, Fully knowing my opulence, when people whole world worship me with awe and reverence, it does not attract me. Then what Krishna gets attracted to is the activities done by the residents of Brajabhumi. That is attractive for him. Therefore, Krishna is saying that how people can feel the love for Krishna. Now, that is a part that Krishna has his opulence, and he's aware of that he's only creating it, and it's not that he's not aware of that appearance, but he says, at my personal level, I want people to love me for who am I want people to reciprocate with me. I want to reciprocate with people naturally. And in that mood, Krishna feels that this worship in awe and reverence is unsatisfactory. Unsatisfactory because that there's no personal reciprocation. I cannot reciprocate with those people, because those people come there with folded hands, and even if they are not asking me for anything, they are thanking me for giving everything. uh, but that's not, but I cannot play with those people. Such people who with folded hand they stand in front of me, I cannot I cannot expect those people to scold me. I cannot expect those people to have fun with me. I cannot expect such people to wrestle with me, just like I do it in Vrajbhumi. Krishna wants that. Krishna likes that. Krishna is Rasaraj. He wants to enjoy all the rasas which are there. All the rasas are there in the relationships, and Krishna wants to enjoy those relationships also. But when people are worshipping him with opulence, knowing his opulence, this exchange on the rasas does not happen. You're limited to only dasya bhav at the most, or shantaras, or but you don't go personal with Lord, knowing fully his opulence like this. Therefore, what Krishna thought is, I shall personally inaugurate Nam Sankirtan movement. By accepting a role of a devotee, I shall make the whole world dance in ecstasy. In this way, I shall teach loving devotional service by personally practicing it. Now, the devotional service, with awe and reverence, is definitely good. It's definitely better than not worshipping God, not worshipping Krishna. But Krishna wants more. Krishna goes a level beyond that. He says, I want to love people, and I want people to love me for who am I. And that can happen only when people overcome this awe and reverence mood, and they love me for who am I, not for what I give them, not for what I am protecting them. I People come to God saying that, give me this, give me that, and God may fulfill their demands. Now, and then people may continue to worship God for getting so many things from God, from Krishna. And that is good. They are at least having gratitude for what you get, and with that mood of gratitude, you are approaching God. But Krishna wants something to go beyond. Krishna says, I am your eternal father. I am your eternal friend. So you love me with that knowledge, and I want to reciprocate with you in that mood. Now, that cannot be possible if you stay at that level, at the level of worship with awe and reverence. So, Krishna says, let me practice it personally and teach everyone how loving devotional service is performed. Therefore, Krishna took appearance as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is a devotee of, who is Krishna himself appearing as devotee of Lord Krishna. And by relishing Krishna consciousness, he inaugurates Sankirtan Nama Sankirtan movement, and simply by chanting name of Krishna, you can fall in love with Krishna. You can get what is the most rarest commodity in this whole creation, that is Krishna Prem. And when you get Krishna Prem, why Krishna Prem is so rare and so valuable? Because if you love Krishna, you will do everything for Krishna, for pleasure of Krishna. You get attached to Krishna. You get you your existence only exists to please Krishna, to make Krishna happy. If you can live your life according to Krishna's instructions, for pleasure of Krishna, and for depending upon Krishna for everything that you have, Krishna will reciprocate with you in fully. And that way, your life can become extremely fulfilling life. During the life and at end of your life, you will go back to Krishna. That's guaranteed. So this is the reason why people. So Krishna wants everybody to come back to him, and people who are caught up in the material world, trying to enjoy and trying to control the activities, the resources available in the world, they have no attract. They have not yet developed attraction to go back to Krishna, sufficiently, and therefore Krishna, in order for such people to get a taste of love of Krishna, get a taste of spiritual bliss that is available in the spiritual world, Krishna personally comes in the form of a devotee and practice Krishna consciousness, and teaches everyone just by seeing him, his absorption in Krishna consciousness, seeing him, his absorption in remembrance of Krishna. People will people used to get love of Krishna. People also used to become mad behind Krishna. People used to experience the love of Krishna. They used to become Vaishnavas, and they used to also start practicing devotional service just simply by taking initiation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just by seeing him practice Krishna consciousness, just by seeing him dance in the kirtans, just by seeing him relish Krishna's memories, Krishna's remembrance. People used to become devotees. So these are external reasons. So external reasons means Krishna wants, the whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken to to create an alternative for people. Alternative means, when we say that Purusha Prakruto Stohi भूंते प्रकृतिजा गुणान कारण गुण संगोस्य सत असद योनि जन्मसु. Now सत असत, good and bad योनि जन्मसु, योनिस में जन्म लेने से, this is our problem, this is our problem statement. We discussed that in some of the previous verses, that we are caught up in the cycle of birth and death. Sat asat, sat means ऊंची and नीची, नीची योनिज में, योनियों में जन्म लेना, ये हमारा problem statement hai. This is our problem statement. And why we are taking births in, uh, why we got caught up into the cycle of birth, because of our association, कारण गुण संगोस्य, गुण के गुणों के साथ संग करने से, we got caught up in the repeated cycle of birth and death. And why we are associating with gunas? Because bhunte prakriti ja guna, because we have desire to enjoy material world, we have desire to enjoy the world, and that desire is forcing us to act, and act in the rajogun, tamogun, and sattvagun. And whichever gun we act in, it produces fruit, and that fruit, for enjoying or suffering that fruit, we have to take birth again. And this is how we got caught in the cycle of birth. So Krishna wants to give us more intelligence, so that we can come to him. Ye namam upayantite dadami buddhi yogam tvam ye namam upayantite. Krishna wants to, willing to give us more intelligence, using which we can come to him. But for that, he's waiting for us to perform tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. He is waiting for us to perform bhajan with loving sentiments. In the loving sentiments, when we perform bhajan, when we worship Krishna, when we perform devotional service in a loving mood, then Krishna says, I'm ready to give you more intelligence, using which you can come to me. So going back to Krishna is the goal of life, is Krishna's plan for all of us. And we have our plans to bhunte prakriti janguna. That is our plan, that we want to enjoy the material world. Enjoy the material world means enjoy the people who are material, people's bodies. We want to enjoy bodies, we want to enjoy wealth, we want to enjoy food that gets created, we want to enjoy ownership, sense of ownership that we get when we own certain things. We want to enjoy the influence over people that we may have. So our desire to enjoy is the root cause of our problem, which is we being caught up in the repeated birth and repeated death. And what is Krishna's plan? Krishna's plan is to make sure that every soul who is caught up in this repeated cycle of birth comes back to him. Now if that plan is not, we are not able to, we are not capable of uplifting ourselves using the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, then Krishna needs to come do something more to attract our attention. And therefore, he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and perform Leela, perform activities, so that we can simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we can purify ourselves and we can go back to Krishna in one lifetime itself. Now, this is a special avatar in the Kali Yuga, because this avatar within Kali Yuga also, this is a special yuga where this influence will be available for next 10,000 years. So it's up to us to waste these 10,000 years and then hope for something better later, but or utilize this time of next 10,000 years, perfect our life and go back to Krishna, cooperate with Krishna's plans. Now, this is general good that Krishna wants to do to all the souls who are wandering in the material world. But scripture says that that's external reason. There are internal reasons also why Krishna wants to come as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, this is to do something with Radharani, and we'll read from Chaitanya Chatamrit as well. Sri Radhika is the highest abode of love, and I am its only object. I taste the bliss to which the object is entitled, but Radha's pleasure is 10 million times greater than mine. Therefore, my mind becomes mad to taste the pleasure that is experienced by the abode of love, that is Radharani. Although I cannot do so, only if I somehow become the abode of that love, I will be able to experience its joy. So, Krishna is feeling that the in the relationship with Radharani, he is getting joy. But what when he see Radha experiencing joy, which is, he's saying, 10 million times more than what Krishna gets. Now, whatever the joy Krishna gets, Radha gets such a joy, so much more joy than what he himself get. Uh, then he start wondering, how is that possible? And how can I taste that nectar? How can I taste that joy? Now, only if I somehow can become the abode of that love, I can become Radha. I can incarnate in the mood of Radharani. I can get Radharani's mind in my incarnation. Then I will be able to relish what Radha is relishing right now. Radharani is relishing right now, and this is one of the internal reasons why Krishna wants to appear as a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where he's taken complexion and mind of mood of Radharani. He is Krishna in the, but he has taken the borrowed the mood of Radharani. So he's thinking and willing like Radharani. And he's relishing the joy of remembrance of Krishna in separation, just like Radharani did when Krishna went away to Mathura and then to Dwarka. So further, my sweetness, Krishna says, my sweetness is unlimited, unlimitedly wonderful. Only Radhika can taste the complete nectar of my sweetness by the strength of her love, which act just like a mirror whose clarity increases at every moment. Although my sweetness, being without limit, seemingly has no room for expansion, it shines forth with newer and newer beauty, and thus constantly competes with the mirror of Radharani's love, as they both go on increasing without admitting defeat. Devotees test my sweetness according to their respective love. If I see that sweetness reflected in a mirror, I also become tempted to test it, although I cannot. Upon deliberation, I find that the only way I can relish my own sweetness is to take the position of Srimati Radharani. So Krishna is saying that when he sees his own reflection in the mirror, now he gets tempted to taste that nectar. He is so beautiful, he is so attractive, and he says the only way I can taste somehow my own nectar is if I can assume the form of Radharani. I can assume a form of Radharani, position of Srimati Radharani, and that's what uh, the the this particular incarnation of that's why it makes this particular incarnation so special. Krishna wants to internal reasons for appearance of Krishna is Krishna wants to the glory of Radharani's love for him, selfless and relentless. That he wants to understand. What wonderful qualities that he himself possesses, how attractive he is. Now he cannot understand that by looking at mirror. How can how is Radharani able to get so much nectar, so much bliss by in when she is with Krishna by by associating with Krishna, why Radharani is able to get so much more relishment? That if you want to understand, you need to assume the mood of Radharani, and then that's why Krishna wants to appear as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, these are internal reasons for appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he wants to test the nectar that is relished by Radharani uh, in his association. And only way he considered he can do this by assuming form and mood of Radharani. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on the Falgun Purnima, that is celebrated as Gaur Purnima by all of us. And so he is Krishna himself in the form and mood of Radharani. Form means complexion. He's Gaura Chandra. He's white in complexion, golden in complexion. Just like the color of Radharani, and he has a mind that of a Radharani as well. He's in the mood of Radharani. Not that he always remains in that mood, but that's what that this is the mood that he exhibited predominantly in Jagannath Puri when he performed pastime for his last almost 24 years. So he took birth in Nadia district in West Bengal, today's West Bengal, in a place called Mayapur. Mayapur, where Yogpith is there. That's the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is very close to Iskon temple, and that's where the under the Nimai tree, under the Neem tree, he was born. So he one name of him was also Nimai, and he's Brahmin, born to Brahmin family of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi, and so he was named as Vishwambhara Nimai Pandit. After renunciation, he was named as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He appeared with his associates. So there are three Vishnu Tattvas we heard from Maharaj yesterday. He also described the same. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Nityananda Prabhu is Balram, and Advaita Acharya is Vishnu, Mahavishnu. Now, apart from this, we have Gadadhar Pandit, who is Radharani herself, and Shivas Thakur. Shivas Thakur is Narad Muni, is a devotee. So they appeared as a Panchatattva. So Lord Chaitanya appeared with his associates, and they inaugurated Sankirtan movement. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you can get the love of Krishna. You can attain the love of Krishna, And if you attain love of Krishna, you will be able to go back to Krishna. Going back to Krishna becomes very easy, so that your cycle of birth can gets defeated, can gets broken. You don't need not remain caught up in this cycle of birth. So the Chaitanya Lila, as it is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, is broken in three broad sections. It is called Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, and Antya Lila. So Adi Lila covers the activities performed in the first 24 years of Lord, until he took sannyas. Then he took sannyas, and then so he acted as a his childhood pastimes, his school pastimes, his acting as a teacher. Then his panditya pastimes. So as a pandit, how he defeats other Keshav Kashmiri Pandit and some other philosophers. Then all those things are there. They appear as part of his. And then he got married. He had lost his father. Then goes to Gaya, perform Pindadan, take initiation, comes back. From then onwards, he's a changed person. He's got the Guru mantra. The Hare Krishna Maha mantra is given to him, and then he comes back, and then he is changed person. He's experiencing demonstrating lot of symptoms of ecstasy when he starts chanting that mantra, and then he considers taking sannyas. After taking sannyas, he goes out and preach relentlessly. He converts people like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was a Mayavadi philosophers, a well-known Mayavadi philosophers, into Vaishnavas. And then he also debates with Prakashananda Saraswati, another Mayavadi philosopher, well-known famous Mayavadi philosopher in Varanasi. There also he defeats and he converts him into a Vaishnava. Uh, so he's actually going out. Conducted in the 6 years time. He went to South India and North India, the two long tours, and in between he used to be in Jagannath Puri. He spent a lot of time in Jagannath Puri, but he spent a lot of time traveling also. He went to all the way to South India, came to Pandharpur. From there he went to North India, and then uh, came back to Jagannath Puri, which became his base after sannyas. He didn't. So the first Adi Lila is his grahastha ashram, and Madhya Lila onwards he's a sannyasi. He's not doesn't go back to Mayapur where his mother used to live, and all his all the people from all the Bengalis were living there, who with whom he grew up, whom they saw Lord growing up. So he didn't went back there. Antya Lila covers last 18 years. So he's had a life of about 48 years. So last 18 years are called Antya Lila. Now Antya Lila, where Lord primarily spent time in Jagannath Puri. He doesn't go out discussing, it doesn't go out on preaching missions. Or but he's largely spends time in discussing Krishna's pastimes with his close associates, and remain fully absorbed in remembrance of Krishna and showing symptoms of ecstasy. Now, not that he never comes out, but he spent a lot of time discussing Krishna Katha, discussing various Krishna's pastimes, and remembering Krishna. But he used to come out during Jagannath Ratha Yatra. He used to come out again. He used to dance in those uh, Ratha Yatras. There are beautiful descriptions of his participation in the dance parties of kirtan parties, various kirtan parties. He used to simultaneously be seen as dancing in every kirtan party. He used to Gundicha Marjan Leela was performed every year, and then deliverance of Pratap Rudra and other pastimes were there. But largely, he's relishing remembrance of Krishna in these last 18 years of time. And Antya Lila, Antya chapter has those 8 verses. The Antya Lila has 20 chapters, and Antya Lila, 20th chapter of Antya Lila is there's description of how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wound up his pastime and how he went back to his God, went back to Godhead. Some says he walked into the ocean and never returned. Some says he walked into the deity of Lord Jagannath in Jagannath Puri and then never returned. And some says he walked into Tota Gopinath temple. That deity, he went into that deity and disappears. But that's what people say, but there's no written description of how Lord Chaitanya wound up his pastimes and went back to Krishna, went back to his original abode. But the last chapter of Antya Lila is called Shikshashtakam, are the instructions given by Lord, and they appear there as in there. Eight Ashtakam means eight, and Shiksha as instructions. Those eight verses comes in that section of 20th chapter where Krishna is speaking this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving these instructions. Now, he's revealing these instructions in conversation with Swarup Damodar and Ramanand Rai. Not that he spoke them in a linear verse, in a linear order, but those verses were spoken at different times. And they were later compiled by recorded by Swarup Damodar in his diary, who used to be his secretary, and later compiled in form of the Shiksha Ashtakam. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a lot of all acharyas, all our acharyas have commented on these eight instructions, which they consider to be the nectar of all the teachings that Krishna, all the Vedas and all the teachings that are available. These eight verses are sufficient to capture the nectar of all those essence of all those teachings. So, even if we can learn these eight verses nicely and understand them, there will be no need for us to know anything else. We can completely surrender to Krishna and relish love for Krishna. So the eight verses, starting with Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadava Nirvapanam. So there are verses. Some of them are their verses are different types, and a lot of acharyas have described how classified them differently. For example, the first five verses up to Ainanda Tanuja Kinkara are called are in the stage of sadhana bhakti. They reflect the stage of sadhana bhakti where, as a sadhaka, we are trying to follow rules and regulation and perform our bhakti, so to invoke the love of Krishna. We don't have any love for Krishna, so we are trying to artificially invoke love of Krishna by following certain method which are prescribed by acharyas. What are those methods? That getting up early in the morning and chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, 16 attentive rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then the guarding, protecting ourselves from the four regulative principle by following four regulative principles from the sin that can be committed in the world as we operate in the world. Then performing other devotional activities, taking in association of devotees, reading of scriptures, hearing of Krishna Katha, and so on and so forth. So this is the first five verses are of sadhana bhakti. The sixth verse is Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti, where there is a spontaneous attraction developed for Krishna. When there is no attraction, we follow sadhana bhakti, which has rules and regulations. By practicing that, eventually we may develop some attraction for Krishna. But at the spontaneous, but at but some devotees will have this spontaneous attraction for Krishna. That is reflected in the sixth verse of Shikshashtakam. Like, Nayanam Galadashrudharaya Vadanam Gadagadarudhaya Gira, where by simply by taking Krishna's name, where at a bodily level so many changes are occurring, so many bodies in general we are prospering, पसीना आने लगता है, बॉडी में कंप होने लगता है, रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं, and we are वाणी गदगद हो जाती है, we are not able to speak, or we cry relentlessly. We cry, tears flow from our eyes just by simply uttering Krishna's name once. And that is the love that can be, that is the extent of love that Krishna, that we may have for Krishna someday. And that just by uttering his name, our heart can choke, our voice can choke, and tears may start flowing from my eyes. And now that is the stage of uh, of Raganuga Bhakti, where we have developed great attraction for Krishna. The next verse is the seventh verse, which indicates that Bhava Bhakti. Indicative of Bhava Bhakti means the verse where it says that uh, Shunyaitam Jagata Sarva Govinda Virahedame. That without Krishna, without Govinda, the whole world, even if it's offered to me, I'm not interested in it. I want Krishna. I know that can be the stage. That is the stage of gopis. Gopi in the after the rasa dance, when Krishna disappears. No, this is what happened to gopis. The gopi becomes mad, and by losing Krishna, they just become mad. They said, we don't, we will just give up our bodies if we don't find Krishna. And they start imitating Krishna's pastime. Krishna held Govardhan like this. So they started performing, acting those pastimes in remembrance of Krishna. They searched for Krishna everywhere, and they said that our life is useless if we cannot find Krishna. Now that is a stage of a bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti is the third, is the highest stage, which is demonstrated by Radharani herself. And where she says that uh, यथा तथा वा विद्धातु लंपटो मत प्राणनाथस्तु स एव ना परहा, दैट आप कितना भी मुझे बुरी तरह से ट्रीट करे, यू विल कंटिन्यू टू बी माय प्राणनाथ. मेरे इन माय लाइफ देयर इज नो वन एल्स आई कैन इवन कंसिडर. सो यू रिमेन माय प्राणनाथ नो मैटर हाउ गुड यू बिहेव विथ मी और हाउ बैडली यू बिहेव विथ मी. नाउ this is the highest stage of loving sentiments expressed towards Krishna by Radharani. So at at our level we can practice sadhana bhakti. We are at the stage of practicing sadhana bhakti, where where the first verses tells us about how sadhana bhakti can be done, what benefits we can get, and what is the value, what is the strength of the holy name, and what other symptoms that may get developed in us if we practice sadhana bhakti nicely. The other way of looking at it is that the these eight instructions, the first verse, the first four verses are instructions to oneself, one's own mind. Now Mahaprabhu is expressing these thoughts and to Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, but he's not instructing them to do this. He is simply expressing his mind, his heart to them, and they recorded it. But and as we will go through these instructions, we'll understand that these are not instructions given to an audience. Like Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna for his benefit because he desired so, and through Arjuna, Bhagavad Gita is spoken with all of us, so all of us can get benefit out of it. Bhagavatam was spoken with by Sukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit, and so there is a definite audience who is expected to listen to it attentively, understand it, and act on it. But these instructions, eight instructions of Lord Chaitanya, are instructions to oneself, one's own mind. So when we chant these verses, we should we should be talking to our own mind about this. That the Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, that Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, Nama Sankirtan, chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, potency of Mahamantra, potency of Harinam Prabhu is so great that it will always be victorious. Oh, my mind. Therefore, do what? Cheto Darpana Marjana. Let me clean the mirror of my mind. And so, this way, these are all instructions to oneself. In the fifth verse, Krishna prays to Lord Krishna. There's a prayer to Krishna that you please bestow your mercy upon me. My sadhana bhakti is not sufficient to lift me from the material consciousness to and transport me into spiritual consciousness, where I can see everything as a service to you. I can, where all my activities can be dedicated to you as a service. Now that is spiritual consciousness. Now, but that is not possible by my own effort to Krishna. Therefore, please bestow your mercy upon me. And this is a prayer to Lord Krishna, as if we initially were talking to ourselves in the first four verses. Then we turn to Lord Krishna and offer a prayer to him that, oh Lord Krishna, I'm trying my best, but without your mercy, it is impossible for me to do any progress on the spiritual path. So please bestow your mercy upon me. And then come the last three verses where the last three verses are where the Lord goes deeper in the remembrance of Krishna, showing multiple bodily symptoms. Now, the sixth verse explains that नयनम गलद अश्रु धारया, नयनों से अश्रु की धारा आ रही है. वदनम गदगद रुद्धया गिरा, वदन is speech, his speech is disturbed, he's not able to speak because of this ecstasy. That heart is choked with so much emotion, so much affection, so much love for Krishna, that no words, even if he wants to speak, no words come out of his mouth. Now this is the state, this is the um, ashtavakra ashta there are these are vikaras that can appear in our body if we ashtasatviki vikaras that can appear in our body when we experience extreme emotions. And extreme emotions in this case is that of love of Krishna. And so that, and then there are other so this way also the whole classification can be done. Mahaprabhu again brought up the Sambandha Krishna, Abhideya Bhakti, and Prayojana is the love for Krishna, attaining love for Krishna. That is the ultimate objective. We have discussed these aspects in previous sessions. That our Sambandha is Krishna, and Krishna is available to us in this Kali Yuga in form of His name, and that's what Mahaprabhu has given us. Mahaprabhu also did not insisted too much on the deity worship, establishing temples and deity, performing deity worship, because of the degradation, general degradation that has happened. So in terms of the ingredients that are available, in terms of purity of Brahminical culture that is available right now. So that is, temples are good. Temples are required to attract people to come there so that they can understand the glories of Harinam. They can perform Harinam there. They can chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra there. They can learn about why it is important to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They can learn about the Bhagavad Gita. They can learn about Bhagavatam, the glories of Lord Krishna. And they can learn about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his mission. His mission is to get everyone back to Krishna Loka, everyone back to Krishna. So once you understand that sambandha and the process that is given by Lord Chaitanya is bhakti yoga, and the prayojan is to attain love for Krishna, so that we can constantly remember Krishna, just like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, and that we will see in the subsequent rest of the session. The first verse is Cheto Darpana Marjana मार्जनम भव महादावाग्नि निर्वापणम श्रेय कैरव चंद्रिका वितरणम विद्यावधु जीवनम आनंदम अंबुधि वर्धनम प्रतिपदम पूर्णामृतास्वादनम सर्वात्मम स्नपनम परम विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तनम. So param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So translation, the let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop miseries of the blazing fire of the material existence. That chanting is waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. It is the life and soul of all education. Chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental bliss, transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste the full nectar at every step. As you would have noticed, now this particular verse has a lot of metaphors. The cheto darpana marjanam. Now there's no the darpana is a mirror, and marjanam is a process of cleaning. So there's no mirror that we need to go and clean. It's not asking us to clean the mirrors in our home. So this is again metaphor. This is which mirror we are referring to. Cheto. Cheto is the heart, mirror of our heart. Heart, which comprises a consciousness. Cheto is consciousness. We'll look at what Cheto means a little bit while. But Cheto means our consciousness, and cleaning our consciousness is the recommended process. So so again, Bhava Mahadavagni. Mahadavagni, Davagni means forest fire. Forest fire is like a huge fire. It's not very becomes very difficult for all the fire brigade to really extinguish it. It becomes very difficult. The forest is spreads across acres and acres and miles, and the only easy way to control or douse that fire, extinguish that fire is when it rains. Rains can happen only with the mercy of Krishna. So Bhavamaha Davagni. So Krishna saying, Mahaprabhu is saying that the blazing forest fire of material existence, that Nirvapanam is to extinguish. We are able to extinguish the fire, blazing forest fire of material existence by chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, by simply name. Anandam Ambudhi Vardhanam Pratipadam, that ever increasing. Ambudhi means ocean. Now, Ananda is bliss, ocean of bliss. Vardhanam is increasing. Pratipadam, every step. That Anand, that ocean of bliss, that is ocean of bliss that exists. And when you experience ocean of bliss, when you chant in the proper mood, and that is not limited, that is ever increasing ocean of bliss, that every step it increases. Again, a very beautiful metaphors given. Param vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. That let there be victory of chanting of holy name of Lord Krishna. So let's understand this verse a little bit more in detail. We'll be hopefully we'll be able to complete this verse today. We'll not be able to go to the second verse and other verses, as we will probably progress them through those in subsequent sessions. But let's break this verse into various parts and try and understand various meanings hidden inside this particular verse. This is again explained by various speakers, various scholars in ISKCON, in different ways. And this one I found to be most relevant for our kind of audience, or from the understanding purpose, this is easier to understand or simpler to understand. So we will discuss this. परम विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तनम. नाउ किसके विजय की बात हो रही है? Whose victory we are talking about? Victory of holy name are described and declared as Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Now, when there is a victory, the glories of the glorious, so glorious is the holy name, and let the holy name become victorious. Now, what does that really mean? uh, where is the war? With whom there is a war? If there is a victory, you have to claim victory. There has to be a conflict. For one to become victorious, there need to be two parties. So in this case, which are two parties which are trying to claim to defeat each other and claim victory? So the victory or the victory is required against our own heart. So the battle is between our heart and the holy name, and that it has to be, that means that it has to be victorious in our own heart. So the battle is between our heart and the holy name, and we want a holy name to finally conquer our own heart. And why there is a resistance from the heart, which means our heart is not cooperating. If there is a battle, there is a conflict, going on between our heart and the holy name, which means that our heart is not cooperating with our holy name. And why would that happen? We will see that. But so when we remember the glory of the holy name, that inspire us to surrender to Krishna. So our heart is not cooperating. Heart is not cooperating. That's what we feel, that our mind is not cooperating. Heart is represented by our mind and intelligence. Mind and intelligence together represents cheto, or the chetana, or the consciousness. So this consciousness is not agreeing, or not is in the fighting mood with the Harinam Prabhu. Krishna in personal form will not be accessible to us in the Kali Yuga. So Krishna is available to us in form of holy name. He and his holy name are not different. And we may not really perceive this, not be able to, we have heard this many times, but we may not be able to perceive it in the way it can be understood properly, so that we treat holy name, Krishna, in the same way as if we will treat Krishna. And therefore we don't, we struggle to chant his name attentively in the simple language. Why? Because our heart and our mind, which is nothing but our mind and intelligence, is not cooperative, not cooperating with the holy name, not letting holy name win our heart. We don't surrender to Krishna. We don't find holy name or Krishna in the form of holy name to be very attractive, so that as attractive, so that we can inspire us to surrender to Krishna. So when Krishna conquers the heart, our heart, it is not by force. Krishna wants to conquer our heart not by force, but by our voluntary submission. And therefore the whole mood of Bhagavad Gita is also voluntary submission, voluntary surrender by Arjuna. It's not by force. So it's voluntary surrender also is out of love, not out of force. So when it is said, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, let the holy name be victorious, means we appreciate the glories of the holy name, and then we voluntarily surrender to the holy name. So there are two stages. We appreciate the glories of the holy name, and then we voluntarily surrender to the holy name. Now these two stages, when they happen, we are able to uh, let holy name become victorious in the region of our heart. Holy name Krishna wins our heart. We'll talk about that. Krishna tells in Arjuna that 1866, the Sarvadharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Just surrender unto me. And Arjuna says, I will surrender. Karishye Vachanam Tava in 1873. Now, I will, Krishna, where Arjuna says that I will do your will. Whatever is your desire, I will do it accordingly. Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. And this is what Arjuna expresses. So, but after he says that, what happens? The surrender is not end of the game. It's actually the beginning, because after speaking this, what does Sanjay says, concluding verse of Bhagavad Gita in 78th verse, yatra यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्ण तत्र पार्थ धन यत्रो पार्थो धनंजय धनुर्धर yatro partho dhanurdhara. What it means is that the beginning of second chapter we heard that Arjuna has kept aside his Gandiva Dhanusha, which was so famous. He was Gandivdhari Arjun. He was famous for his bow and arrow skills. But he had kept aside that bow, a famous, world famous bow, Gandiva, in his chariot. And in the last verse, where Sanjay is describing Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatro Partha Dhanurdhara, which means the Partha has already picked up his bow and is now ready to fight, ready to do the will of Krishna. As whatever Krishna wants, he's ready to do that. So surrender actually is not end of the war. Rather, surrender is the start of the war. So How is that? The surrender is not surrender of a frustrated military general who has been defeated and who has not no other alternative but to accept a surrender. This surrender is actually a voluntary offering of one's own will and one's own heart out of love. It is very important that this surrender that Krishna wants us to do is out of our own will, out of our own love. It's a loving surrender, not out of force. Just like how the surrender typically happens in wars. And now this is to happen out of love, and for that to happen, we need to understand the glories of Krishna, and so that's this is what we'll be discussing. So similarly, when it is said Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, let the holy name be glorious, that means voluntarily submitting to the holy name. Oh, the holy name is such a glorious manifestation of Krishna, so let me offer my heart to the holy name. So, in that way, when we meditate on the glory of the holy name, we are praying to the holy name, because becomes then we are praying to the holy name becomes victorious in the territory of our heart. That means our heart submits to the holy name, and when that will happen, uh, that will happen when we will understand the glory of the holy name, that how glorious the holy name is. The result of understanding his glories of holy name, and holy name and Krishna are not different, is that our reluctance to surrender changes to willingness to surrender. When we understand fully that how glorious Krishna is, how merciful Krishna is, how loving Krishna is to all the living entities, then our resistance, reluctance to surrender becomes willingness to surrender. Then we are more than happy to surrender ourselves to Krishna. We become subordinate to Krishna. We are okay to become subordinate to Krishna. And that will change reluctance to cooperation. And then with that mood, when we chant, we are able to let holy name conquer our heart. We are in love with Krishna then. So that's how Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So let's look at the glories of the holy name. What are the glories of the holy name that are there, which can inspire us to surrender? So the first glory, as described in this verse itself, is Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Cleaning the mirror of mind with Krishna's name. Now that's what it means. The Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Now we've spoken this about. Let's discuss about our mind a little bit more. We use our mind in a different ways. Sometimes we use our mind as a window to perceive the world around us. So as if we are sitting in a home which has no window, we can't know what's happening outside. If it's completely dark room, we can't even tell whether it's daytime outside or night time. So but if that home has a window and we open the window and we see through it, that we can see nice trees are outside, and nice it's a daylight, uh, bright sunlight is there, a home is there in the right at some distance, and in between there are nice gardens, maybe some trees planted, maybe some flowers there. Nice wind must be blowing, and so we can perceive reality, so by through the window of our mind. Now this is when this happens when we are using our mind as a window. We are using our mind as a window to perceive the world outside as it is. So this happens when we are present in present. We are called present in present. Sometimes we become absent in present means we may be looking at the window outside, and instead of looking at the home and what is there outside, our mind can start playing a video from past, present, or future in our mind, and that time we may end up using our mind like a TV screen to play some video from past or recent times, or of some future fabricated video from future, that event to come कि कल मेरे साथ कल मुझे यहाँ जाना है कल मैं ये करूंगा वो करूंगा, ये मजा आएगा वो मजा आएगा, कल मैं कैसे एंजॉय करूंगा. Now we have not that has not even happened, but we are making plans, we are making future plans, and we are we are dreaming about those plans, that and that dreams are played in form of a video. Okay, how I will be enjoying with my friends when I will go tomorrow to this place and do this, do that. So so this image, out of imagination, we have created those movies, and our mind can actually start playing those movies. Now they can be from future, they can be from past also. That कल किसी के साथ हमारा सपोज झगड़ा हो गया होगा, and we may, the whole scene may reappear in front of us, in the front of our eyes, कि उसने मुझे ऐसे कैसे बोला, फिर मैंने उसको ऐसा जवाब दिया, then मैंने भी ज्यादा ही स्ट्रिक्टली बोला, and then he said something to me, again he hurt me, again I hurt him, and how could he have said something like this, and so on and so forth. Now we are now replaying a movie from the past which has happened already. Now, even if, and we may do this by standing at a window like this. Now at this time, now we may be seeing this, our eyes may be seeing this home and the same place which is outside. Our mind is not present to perceive the reality, which means our mind is somewhere else, our mind is watching something else, our mind is showing a a different movie, and our soul is busy watching that movie rather than watching what is there outside the window. We may stand in front of that window, but instead of seeing the house, we may be, a soul might be busy seeing a movie from past or future imagination, and thereby may not be able to perceive the reality as it is. So this is called absent in present. How does this happen? It happens through this particular beautiful verse from 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says that Shotram Chakshush Parshanam cha Rasanam Granamaya cha Adhishthaya Manishchaya Vishayanupasevate, that by which the living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He does enjoy a particular sense set of sense objects. So all these five senses are sending their input to the mind, and mind is the monitor on which all the input appears. uh, they appear, the mind process them, and then mind focuses on one which it finds more interesting. By engaging in offenseless chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one start the process of cleaning the mind. It may take short or long time depending on our ability to understand the glories of our Hare Krishna Mahamantra, accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, become dependent on Krishna for our happiness and distress, become, performing activities for pleasure by keeping His pleasure in mind. That wherever I'm acting, will it help? Will it please Krishna, or will it not make Krishna happy? Uh, and for by following His instructions simply. So if we are not doing it, which means we are still reluctant, we are not able to let holy name win our heart, and thereby it at times can take long time for us to cleanse the mirror of our mind. Now that can, again, we can take guidance from devotees, we can reveal our heart to devotees to understand what goes through our mind when we are chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and that devotees can guide us to overcome those problems, so that we can start chanting in a nice way. Immediate positive effects of chanting are better mind control, better sense control, increased tolerance, increased humility, increased truthfulness, focus on activities. We are able to do our activities properly, because we know how to act present in, how to be present in present, and so we can, whatever material work also we might be engaged in doing, we may do that to the best of our ability. Better ability to discriminate, better ability uh, to discriminate means, we can easily separate milk and water, and then right and wrong, good and ugly, good, bad, ugly, we can differentiate between these two. In the material world, everything is very blur. People say, if you think this is good for you, you that is good for you. If you think this is bad, it is bad. But that's not always be the case. It's not always that way. There are certain things which are not good at all in all circumstances, in all scenarios. And so the discrimination, the power to discriminate increases if our sadhana is nice. And if our sadhana is nice, obviously our our ability to choose right option also becomes sharp and better, so that we not only discriminate, we also choose right mode, right option. Chanting can help us reduce unwanted desires and many more wonderful benefits that it can give you. So 1608 is considered to be the mercy helpline for devotees. How desires act on us? The desires, our bhunte prakriti guna, that desire is the root cause, and desires enter our mind through various ways. So desire, once it enters our mind, we may act on that desire. And if that, when we act on the desire, desire may get fulfilled or may get not fulfilled, or may not get fulfilled to the extent we want or as per our expectation. Now, when it gets fulfilled, what happens is it leads to pride and arrogance, and results in greed, hankering, and fear for losing. We become fearful that if I get something, I may lose it. And greed is, I may want more of more that. Hankering for other things. ये तो मिल गया मुझे, वो भी चाहिए, वो भी चाहिए, वो भी चाहिए, वो भी चाहिए. We come up with endless list of desires, and whatever we have achieved, whatever we have gained, no, we become fearful that we may lose it, somebody else may take it from us. Now if desire, now that have, so that's what happens when the desires are fulfilled. So desires coupled with lot of emotions. Pride is a emotion, arrogance is a emotion, greed is an emotion, hankering is emotion, fear is emotion. When desires don't get fulfilled, what happens is desire is not fulfilled, it leads to anger. Sanjat sanjayate kama, kamat krodho bijayate. Krodh is anger, frustration, anxiety, distress. And so lot of things will come when the desires are not fulfilled. It results in lamentation and misery. We makes us miserable. So the desire is the root cause, and every desire, every action we perform on every desire is gives us the fruit, and that fruit is the root cause for our repeated birth and repeated death. our being caught up in the cycle of birth. This is the problem. So what happens when we chant attentively? When we chant more and more, we feel that yes, I want to serve Krishna. Our service attitude towards Krishna gets developed. When we understand Krishna's glories, glories of his name, and glories of Krishna per se, uh, we easily are able to subordinate ourselves to him. We accept him as someone who is great, and naturally then there is a tendency to do something for that great person. And if Krishna is so great, is so merciful, so much loving to all of us, and we get so much from him, naturally the next thought that can come is what I can do for him, what how I can repay him, I can do something for him, for something for his pleasure. Since he is doing so much for me, let me also do something for him. Now that desire is service attitude, and that is the starting point of cheto darpana marjanam. So when there are other desires, and what can what can stop us from cultivating this kind of a desire is when we have other desires in our mind present. So we have a one, on one hand we have desire to serve Krishna by understanding his glories, and on another hand there are other desires, for example sensual desires and other kind of desires of becoming. When they become strong, now it depends on which one is stronger, which one becomes stronger, and that can defeat the other desire. And so our objective is to, by constantly hearing Krishna katha, by constantly get remaining in association of devotees, by constantly maintaining our connection with Krishna, we make our spiritual desire stronger. Spiritual desire to, yes, I want to serve Krishna. I know how Krishna is great. I want to voluntarily submit myself to Krishna. I want to do something for Krishna. Now, this desire should become stronger as we progress, and then if it becomes stronger, it will be able to defeat the sensual desires, which are which gain strength by indulgence. A sensual desire, for example, one wants to have a relationship uh, outside marriage, and want to have a sexual relationship with opposite sex outside marriage, and if that desire exists, the lusty desire exists, uh, it becomes stronger by actual practice, by actual indulgence. If alcoholic becomes his desire to have alcohol more becomes stronger when he fulfill one of his desire sometimes, and that sometimes can become many times, and that many time can become regular, and regular then become just nature, your nature, and then he's unable to give up alcohol. And the same thing happens with smokers. So the indulgence is acting on that desire, gives strength to those desires. So if you stop acting and completely, then the desires become weak. And between the two, the spiritual desires, when they are stronger, they are becoming stronger, then they will be able to defeat the sensual desires. Now this is the tug of war that is happening inside us, inside our mind, because of which we are unable to surrender to Krishna. And that's what keep us away from chanting. Our mind wanders here and there while chanting because of this. When they become strong, and if we just keep chanting, then gradually we will find that all those other desires subside and our consciousness becomes clear. So the other desires are beaten back, just like if any enemy soldier, so as if two armies are fighting a battle in front by standing in front of each other. Now, as one army is trying to progress, there is a defense fire, that is issued. That is the from the other side, the defensive fire that happens on the enemy side, and the enemy soldiers are held back because of that defensive fire. And eventually, if that fire continues, then eventually they will take a step backwards. They'll become weaker, and they can be defeated completely as well. So this is this way. What we need to do is to anyhow and somehow continue to maintain our connection with Krishna. Maintain. That's why we insist that everyone should chant. Everyone should chant every day, no matter what is your condition is, no matter whether somebody has died in your family or has taken birth, no matter if you are sick, if you are not feeling well, if you are somebody else is in your family not sick, somebody. So no matter how good, bad, or ugly our condition is, we should simply keep chanting. Chanting should not be given up, because chanting is Krishna available. Krishna is available to us through chanting of holy name, and and the other desires will always be there. But if we chant nicely, if we try and chant sincerely, uh, we will see that other desire will get beaten up, will get beaten back, and will subside, will reduce, will go down, will become weaker, and ultimately will get defeated. So this is what is the battle that we face every morning. If we are able to get up in the morning and chant, this is the battle we are all fighting every day. So moving further, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam. Now, uh, the Mahadavagni means great forest fire, which again cannot be extinguished by human effort, and therefore we need grace of God, mercy from God. So in our life we all face different kind of problems, and we put in effort to solve those problems, and we can solve specific problems. So for example, if I fall sick, I need to find a doctor and take some medicine so that I can get better. If I lose a job, I need to find another job using my talents, using my skills, whatever Krishna has given. And this is material problems, and we have to seek material solutions using all available means to us. At material level, we can work like this, whatever the problem that way, but we cannot solve the problematic materialistic existence by itself. What it means is we can solve one problem, and one problem is solved, another one pops up, we solve that, another pops up, another pops up, and another pops up. So this is the why the problem keep coming, because this is the nature of this material existence. Material existence is dukhalayam ashashvatam, which means nobody can be perpetually happy in this world. Nobody is, this world is temporary, and so everyone who is in this world is temporary. And world is dukhalaya, which means everyone is sad, everyone is miserable in this world. Even if they may not appear miserable now, eventually they will become miserable, because that's the nature of the world. So the problematic, this is the problematic material existence per se, means as long as we are here, we are going to face this problem. Now we may solve some problems by our talents and our skills and our abilities, but that is not sufficient to take us out of the cycle of birth and death, out of to take us to a place where there will be eternal blissful life. That is tadhama paramam mama. Krishna identifies that is that tadhama paramam mama, that param dham is mine, my abode, where once you go, there will be no miseries. It's a vaikuntha without kuntha. And so so the our abilities, our skills, our talents can only help us in a very very small way, but it does not solve our problem of repeated birth in this material existence. For that we have to depend on Krishna. For that we have no other choice but to go to Krishna. So this can only be rectified by Krishna's mercy. So when the mind itself stop proposing now, now what is the root cause of this battle? We saw that battle between Harinam Prabhu winning our heart, and our mind resisting, is because that happens because of the desires that mind is cultivating, desires, sensual desires that mind might be cultivating. Now one way is to continuously continue to get remain engaged in chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That will eventually defeat the unwanted desires. So what happens when those this is defeated, those desires gets defeated? Now we see, look at it from a simple examples point of view. Some of us, all of us, probably must be meat eaters before we became Krishna conscious, before we came to Krishna consciousness. And that time the meat eating did give us some pleasure. It's not that it couldn't give us any pleasure at all. No, it was pleasurable. That's why people engage themselves in meat eating. But having come to Krishna consciousness, having practiced devotional life for few times, some time, having chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra, having understood Bhagavad Gita philosophy a little bit, having understood from devotees that four regulatory principles includes meat eating, no meat eating as well, and having tasted Krishna Prasad ourselves, now we are able to easily give up the meat eating habit. Now that meat eating, even if it is in front of us, does not gives a proposal the in the mind that let's go and have that. But that proposal itself stops coming from the mind. So when we indulge into various activities, our mind keep giving pop-ups, keep giving proposals. keep fantasizing things for us, that ये किया तो बहुत अच्छा होगा, ये कर ले बहुत अच्छा होगा, ये तूने पहले किया था and you had you enjoyed it so much, so let's try again. So these are the proposals mind keep providing us with, feeding us with. And that those proposals are the are the danger signs because every time a proposal comes, you have to forcibly say no to it. uh, so it's like you keep getting calls nowadays from various companies offering you free loan, personal loan at a concessional rate, or offering various investment options which can double your money in 1 month, double your money in 1 year, or double your money in whatever 3 months. Or they can offer you loans at very without any security, without collateral, at very very attractive rates, and so on and so forth. Some tree investment plant and so on and so forth. So many phone calls we get every day. Now, as soon as long as those phone calls keep coming, asking us to do various things, uh, we have to lift it and say no to it. Now that's the effort. However, what if we put that our number in DND, do not disturb mode, then those phone calls only stop coming. Similarly, when we defeat, it's like defeating the desires completely. Now, and so by fire, we may hold them for some time, but by completely defeating them, we can win over those desires. The desires pop up for those desires will stop coming. And give the example of meat eating, we might have had enjoyed it in past, but now having spent reasonable time in Krishna consciousness, having tasted Krishna Prasad, we no longer get tempted to eat meat again. So those pop-ups only stop coming in our mind. So the mind, when the pop-up stops, it stops receiving all those pop-ups, it becomes calm. It is it becomes calm and it becomes composed. The mind has stopped proposing itself. Now this is the stage that we want to attain. We should ideally be attaining for all our desires. We must have been successful with meat eating, but we should be similarly successful for lust, for and other anarthas that we can, and other desires that we cultivate. We've been cultivating ourselves, and we've been working hard day and night for achieving those desires. And whatever those could be to get some pride, to get some uh, to win some get some promotion, get a spouse, get a child, uh, get some retirement bonanza, get some win some lottery, win in some sporting event, becoming a more attractive person than what we are, so on and so forth. We may have n number of desires, but all those desires will keep us distracting from the chanting of holy name. So by defeating those, and by defeating those in such a way that it stops giving us the pop-up again, our mirror of mind can become calm. The mind, as long as the mind keep proposing, come on, do this, do that, we have to keep saying no, and that is where we lose a lot of our energy. And then bhakti doesn't become, process of bhakti doesn't become enjoyable. The process of chanting of Hare Krishna doesn't remain enjoyable. Bhakti is not joyful. So when the mirror of mind becomes clean, those we stop getting all those pop-ups from the mind within, and then bhakti, we can relish bhakti, we can enjoy the bhakti. Now that is the stage we all want to hope to achieve. So if we are distracted from Krishna at that time, but gradually, when the mind itself says that, when the mind itself understands that there is no pleasure over there, and the mind stop proposing, so when that happens, the bhakti becomes very joyful, because there is no resistance, there is no distraction coming from within itself. That is why there is mind control and there is mind conversion. We have to control the mind as we are practicing bhakti, and that requires the intelligence. But by steady practice of bhakti, we want mind itself to get converted. Converted means that the mind itself eventually starts becoming attracted to Krishna, or does not start getting attracted to world, stop getting attracted to worldly things. And that is the stage when mind becomes a friend. And so that takes a long time. So that takes a long time. That can take a long time or short time depending on our surrender to Krishna, our devotion to Krishna. So when the screen of mind becomes free from clutter of desires and emotions, which arise from unfulfilled or fulfilled desires, it becomes calm and clean. It's like a TV computer screen switched off. Now we can see our own reflection in it, that we are not this body, but we are spirit soul. We are part and parcel of Krishna, who loves us unconditionally, who gives us so much. And it is our duty, it is our out of duty or out of affection, we should love him back. And that mood, when in that knowledge and that mood, when we further engage in devotional service in association of devotees, we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then sooner than later our love for Krishna enhances, gets manifested in our heart, and then we chant in a loving mood, in a without any resistance, without any conflict in our mind. And our mind actually cooperates with our heart, with the holy name, and then both of them together are, the holy name becomes victorious in the end. And then that's why we are able to chant nicely or perform any other devotional service nicely for the pleasure of Krishna. So cleaning time is now. Don't postpone it to your next birth. We will stop at this stage. We are almost at 12:51. We'll not start with the next verse. We'll take some questions or comments from anyone that might be there, because it was a one first verse is a very complex verse and had a lot of metaphors, a lot of things to talk about. So we thought probably we can spend more time on this verse, and then rest of the sessions we can cover other verses. So I'll just stop here and see if anybody has any questions or comments on this particular verse, what we discussed today. So we go to the chat box. Sarina Barodi, thank you so much. So, since there are no questions, we can conclude this session today. It will not be possible for us to go through other verses. Hopefully, next week my voice also will be better, and we can discuss the rest of the verses in our next session. We have a couple of hands raised, Akshita and Vikas Prabhuji. Yeah, Akshita, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Akshita, you can ask the question.
Actually, my question is that in first verse you discuss about the love we need to develop in our heart for the Lord. So sometimes I do, like for me, he is like my child. So sometimes I scold him, imagining a scenario, but I hold my emotions back, thinking of that I'm doing wrong. So am I really doing wrong, or what should I, how do I know that I'm doing right or wrong?
Correct. So we can know this by understanding what is how are our other desires are. if we, because this is a stage, it's not impossible stage to attain, but at our level, when we have so many anarthas inside us, this stage can become a misleading stage, or a stage where we may get tricked. That's why Prabhupada has given us a sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is following rules and regulations, which means that we are not at a very pure devotional level where we can be, where we can be 100% devoted to, we can remain 100% devoted to Krishna. We can, our whole of our existence is for the pleasure of Krishna. Now that stage is, that is stage where Prabhupada was himself at personal level, but he didn't practice at that level. He didn't advertise himself to be at that level. So at our level, we have so many worldly desires, which are indicative of the fact that we are not pure enough. In that stage, it is too premature to have these feelings, and acting on the according to those feelings. It's not that we cannot aspire. So a whole Chaitanya Shikshashtakam, if you read, if you see, is something that we need to aspire for. These are like stars of the sky. May not be available to us today, but we know that there are stars in the sky, and so this is glorious, loving devotional service that is available if we apply ourselves to the fundamental principles of bhakti, fundamental principles of sadhana bhakti. The sadhana bhakti is the staircase which goes from, we are down here and the stars are up there, and there is a staircase which can connect us with those stars, is the process of sadhana bhakti. So if we follow that process nicely, then eventually we will be able to go to a stage where we will actually be, can remain absorbed in remembrance of Krishna, 24 by 7. We can do all our activities for the pleasure of Krishna 24 by 7. We are able to chant Krishna's name and tears can roll from our eyes. That can happen. And so these are things to aspire for, may not be available to us today, and we may sometime get some glimpses of that pleasure, that bliss, in our current stage also. But that should only act as a motivator for us to practice with more determination, more commitment, not to become ad hoc practitioner of bhakti. Just get up early when you're, whenever you're not feeling like getting up early in the morning and chant, then you should remember those moments of bliss that you experience by Krishna's mercy, and you should motivate yourself, push yourself to get up early in the morning and chant, doing japa, or perform any other devotional service. So they are indicative, they are available. They are available, they can become available to us in this life, very much available. But at this stage, they can be deceptive, they can be distracting also. Now those itself can become distraction. So at our stage, we should practice our sadhana bhakti nicely, and that will ensure that the other worldly desires eventually go down. Other worldly desires do not trouble us the way they otherwise used to trouble us. And when that stage comes, uh, under the guidance of your Lord's devotees, we will start experiencing more joy, more enthusiasm to stand, to serve Krishna in various ways. And that is the progression. That is a progression that we should all aspire for. So even if we, even if we can converse, we can talk to God, we can offer our own prayers to God, we can speak with God our heart, and we can, but all that to be done in a prayerful mood, in a mood that 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 Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the fifth verse, that Ainanda Tanuja Kinkiram Patitamama Vishame Bhavambodo Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sthita Dhuli Sadrasham Vichintaya. In that mood, we should pray to Lord. Now, this is prayer said by Krishna to Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, but when he comes as a devotee, he speaks in such a way. He speaks like that you are son of Nanda Maharaj, and I am a most negligible object. in this whole creation, the most low object in this creation. So unless you show your mercy upon me, I cannot do anything. I cannot convert my material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. I cannot convert and what does that mean? That means converting of all our worldly desires to spiritual desires, using everything that we have for serving Krishna. When we get to that stage, then experiencing spiritual bliss is possible, is very much available to us. But that's how we can we can practice, we need to practice more, not get carried away by such moments of bliss that we may experience otherwise also. Is that okay, Akshita? You have any other questions?
Yes, Prabhuji. I have one more question. That like recently I visited Vrindavan. So after coming back from that, I feel very disconnected from this material world. I don't feel like doing material things, and I crave for prasadam, and I feel hard to continue this material life, and I feel very shaken up also from the bhakti also, and also from the material world also, and I'm somewhere stuck in the middle. So how do I balance that?
Yeah, so basically Vrindavan is where Lord enjoy pastimes, enjoy rasas. Is not so much about tattva. The tattva is on the Kurukshetra battlefield when Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita. He speaks the tattva. He speaks, gives the principles of bhakti yoga, and he's demonstrate his Aishwarya. But Vrindavan, nobody considers Krishna as God. His divinity is concealed, is hidden. Yogamaya covers it for others and for Krishna himself also, so that he can enjoy rasa. He can enjoy various relationships with everyone in the Braj Bhumi, and that definitely gives Krishna a lot of joy. That a lot of his devotees also get joy, and he himself gets joy. Then he relishes it the most, and that is again is something that we can aspire for. But to go there, to get there, we need to be well versed with the principles of Bhakti Yoga that are there in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, we say that the progression is like Bhagavad Gita is like a graduation and is like a matriculate, and then the Bhagavatam is graduation, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is like a post graduation or a doctorate. Because unless we if we don't understand the tattva behind who Krishna is, what his opulence is, and how great he is, we may misunderstand the activities in Vrindavan to be worldly activities. Now, and hence we need to go back after. So visit to Vrindavan should be definitely inspiring for us, should inspire us to practice our day-to-day sadhana bhakti with more determination and more commitment, because we want to go there. That's these are like our stars, and we want to attain those. But and the way to attain that is by practicing sadhana bhakti. So when you say your other desires go down, we can discuss that separately with specific examples. But as long as we stay in the material world, we need to be doing our duties, and those duties are to be done, and those duties and the sadhana bhakti also need to be done, and the weightage between the two will vary according to the time, place, and circumstances. So that's what something we can discuss offline, and then we can guide you better way. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your question. Yes,
Hare
Vikas
Krishna.
Prabhuji and then Satyan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. And I could just perceive your condition yesterday evening, and um, I can also understand the situation you are in since I have recently come through. And despite that, you have invested so much energy to just inspire us to just give us a relishment of Krishna for such a long, means almost 2 hours. So thank you very much, first of all, humble obeisances to you for putting in all your efforts. And just a beautiful thing, just you have given 16108 is the helpline number of for the devotees, mercy helpline number for the devotees. And for that, again, the gratitude passes to you and Narottam Prabhuji and Srila Prabhupada, that because of your efforts, the whole group of whoever is in this particular group, or whoever is standing here is aspiring to chant and is aspiring to get to a level of performing devotional service wholeheartedly. So it is all the relishment and all the effort of yours that are inspiring us to move further and to become very strong in our devotional service. So thank you very much for that also, Vidhi. And it was such blissful session. And I could remember actually two instances wherein in one His Grace Sitaram Prabhuji says that your vision should be that higher, that worldly problem should look like a minuscule problem. And in one His Holiness Bhagwan Keshav Swami Maharaj in Vrindavan, as we heard him, that he was saying that whatever Krishna has planned for us, that will come in eventual time, but our focus, our attention should be more and more in practicing our sadhana bhakti. So, and I could perceive through your this session that that is only possible when we are in association of devotees and getting such kind of relishment as you always give on the Saturdays and especially today's. So, means the thank you word looks so small to express gratitude to you. So please accept my humble obeisances for all your wholehearted endeavors and great efforts, and showing us the direction that despite adverse conditions, how we can try to serve Krishna and how we can try to inspire others by spreading the message of Krishna. Thank you very much, Guruji. Hare Krishna. Dandvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Swapnil Prabhuji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, thank you very much for this very wonderful session. The question which is keep on coming in my mind is about the association with devotees. With all glory to you and various sessions that been there, have been always trying to be to associate with this wonderful sessions and association of devotees. But for survival, you have to get associated non-devotees or materialistic uh, whatever you are work doing, and you come across so many instances wherein you face that probably that becomes more uh, what you call is that you cannot avoid that association, and it's totally opposite of what association we have in our sessions, in our various various bhakti sadhanas what we do. So how do we manage that balance? Because uh, for survival in this materialistic world and carry out bhakti sadhana, both are you know uh, equally important, I can say. But one is through by heart and other is just by you have to do it for survival. So
Sure.
what is your advice, Prabhuji?
So basically, we need to understand what association means. Now, association does not mean physical proximity. When we are associating with our office, people in our office, we visit office and we sit with them. We probably eat with them, eat along with them in the same canteen, sit in the same office area where 50 other 100 other people are sitting. Travel in the train where hundreds of people are there with us. We travel on the streets where there are so many cars, so many bikes, so many vehicles moving. Now we live in the same, visit the shops where there are hundreds of people, visit the functions, family events where people are there. So there are there are places where we have physical proximity with people, and physical proximity need not get converted into association. Association happens when there is an exchange of desire takes place. When desires, when I acquire somebody else's desires, then that is called association. For example, if an American person comes to India, now he has no understanding of cricket, what it is, but all his office colleagues are mad about cricket. They whole day talk about cricket. The whole day talk about who should be in the team, who should not be in the team, who should have done what, who should have been given first over, last over, who should have opened the batting, who should have stood where for fielding, and so on and so forth. Now this is what he's hearing every day. Eventually he asks questions about it. Then he also go and watch the cricket match about it, along with the other colleagues in the office, and eventually get hooked to it and start practicing it, start understanding the cricket, that this is a opening batsman, this is a opening bowler, this is a runner, this is umpire, this is boundary, this is a sixer, there's a 4 runs are scored, then this many runs scored, then this is catching, this is leg before, whatever, and so on and so forth. So originally this man had no desire to know about cricket, but by associating with people who had great desire to talk about cricket, to know cricket, uh, to discuss about cricket, eventually by constantly associating with them, this desire is getting passed on to him. Now it's a voluntary choice for this person to accept this desire or not to accept this desire. So similarly, when we are with worldly people, it's up to us whether to get attracted towards the things to which those worldly people are attracted towards, or not. What it means is, if somebody is attracted towards watching porn movies, and that happened to be one of our colleague, just because he is interested in watching porn, we need not get interested in watching porn. We need not borrow that desire from him. Somebody is interested in meat eating, and he happened to be our boss, or he happened to be our colleague, or happened to be a person who is working under us. We need not get influenced by their desires, by their likes and by their dislikes. So the physical proximity should not lead to exchange of desires, and if that happens, then the association comes. So if you happen to be in association of devotees, one eat meat, one drinks alcohol, and the third person smokes cigarettes, and you all four of you work together in office as a one department. If you borrow all the three desires from all of them, then you have taken their association, which is a dangerous thing to do. And to protect ourselves from that happening is to cultivate Krishna consciousness properly, to do our sadhana bhakti properly, to do our reading properly, to understand the principles basis which we are practicing bhakti uh, correctly. When we are convinced about these things, no matter who's doing what, your physical proximity will never result into you acquiring their desires, but instead you will be so peaceful, you will be so focused, you will be so blissful in your conduct, in your activities, that those three of them, they can start asking you, what is the secret of your happiness, why you are so much blissful, why are you, how can you go to Vrindavan every 6 months, what do you get there, what kind of a taste you get there. And I can't, nobody visit same place 3 4 times 5 times, but people are ready to go to Vrindavan any day. So these people, if these three of them, they started asking you these questions, that what is the secret behind your happiness, why your food tastes so nice, despite of it being so simple, and why you glow, why you're so calm, why you're so peaceful, why you're so happy, then they are trying to take your association. If you end up acquiring their habits, their desires, their culture, then you have taken association. Physical proximity can create possibilities, but This is not compulsion. There's no compulsion that you have to take their association. It that it depends on how well we are able to protect ourselves from the world, and that protection comes from sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is hearing and chanting and remembering Krishna. If we do this nicely, then no matter with whom we associate, with whom we have physical proximity with, the association will not happen. In fact, it will you might end up giving association, not taking association. That is what we do when we go out for book distribution. We go out inviting people for attending our programs. We are trying to give our association, not take their association. So that way, we need to protect. We need to protect where bhakti is valuable. If you have jewelry, necklace or earrings, some costly diamonds in your home, you will protect it. You will want to protect it. Correct. So similarly, bhakti is equally valuable for us, and we have to do everything in our control to protect it. And this way, we can protect it by performing proper sadhana bhakti with all sincerity in a humble mood. Our bhakti can grow, and as our bhakti is growing, our desire, our to take association from others will just have no taste. We'll have no taste, no matter whose meat this person is eating, no matter which brand of alcohol he's trying to drink, no matter how many cigarettes this person smokes. You will never have any desires for any of those activities. So physical proximity did not result in taking association. So these two are different things, and we need to protect what we have got as if it's a valuable gem.
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhuji. I mean, I was always in dilemma that probably that association, I was trying to, getting into a guilt that how come I'm into this all. But now I think the dilemma is I'm out of dilemma that when you tell that physical association doesn't matter, it is what your how strong you are in your bhakti sadhana will automatically you keep away yourself from the desires. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There's a question on the chat box by but coming out of Dasya Bhava and taking Prema Bhava towards Krishna appears to be an uphill task and difficult to achieve. Is this a gradual, inevitable process or any specific effort to be made? How this can be developed? So, elevation from Dasya Bhava to Prema. Now, uh, now at the beginning, all of us are in the serving Krishna in a Dasya Bhava. We are not approaching Krishna in the love of in the prema, because our positions with respect to Krishna will be revealed to us. Our swarupa will be revealed to us as we will progress in the matter of bhakti. And if that happens to be in the Sakhya ras or a Dasya ras, for example, Hanuman's position, eternal position is in Dasya ras, and Hanuman reciprocates with Lord Ram in Dasya Bhav only. Now he at his level, at his stage, he has no desire to go up. He doesn't consider there is anything up, and he loves to be in that mood eternally. He does not consider going becoming gopi someday and then enjoying a madhurya pastime with the Lord. He does not want to become like a Bibhishan or Arjun, who had a Sakyaras, who exchanged Sakyaras with Lord. Hanuman is happy with his Dasya Dasya Bhav. So if what depending on our Swarupa, we may attain that mood perpetually. But at the beginning, everyone is in a dasya bhav, because Prabhupada has given us the process of devotional service, which is rendering service to Krishna, accepting Krishna as authority, and that is how that is best suited for the jivas in the conditioned material world. Because if jivas uh, uh, because currently our condition is such that we think we are the doers. and accepting Krishna's hand in the fruits that we are getting, that itself is the process of purification. That itself requires a lot of conviction that we are not the only doer. To understand this one simple sentence, that takes long and long and long time. Then the desire is the root cause. Now to understand this and then to purify our desires, that takes long time. So everyone can only act, serve Krishna today only in the dasya bhav to start with, and as we will progress, our swarupa will get revealed to us. If our swarupa happens to be in dasya ras only, then we will have no attraction towards any other rasa, and we may continue to be in the dasya ras. But if our swarupa reveals that we are in sakhya ras or vatsalya or madhurya ras, then that elevation will automatically happen. Okay, Praji, I think that was the question asked by Sampath Krishna Prabhuji. Okay, there are no more questions, so we can end today's discussion, and we'll continue with the balance verses of Shikshashtakam in next Sunday. Request everyone to celebrate Gaur Purnima by either coming to Bhivandi temple or visiting nearest ISKCON temple wherever you are situated, and pray to Lord Chaitanya to remove obstacles from uh, our path of devotional service, wherever we are, at whatever speed we are progressing, to increase our speed, to increase our position, improve our position and increase our speed of purification, so that we are able to let the holy name win our heart, and then let that holy name be victorious in true sense. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Gaur Purnima Mahotsav ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, everyone.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji, Dandavat
Krishna,
Pranam.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much.
Dandavat Pranam
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna
Thank you so
Prabhuji.
much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.